जय जनरञ्जन जमुनातिरावनचारे जमुनातिरावनचारे जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा शिल प्रभुपादा प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय नामाचार्य श्री ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्यामकुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय बृहत मतंगा की जय प्रसादम विष्णु की जय समवेद भक्ति की जय श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय कृष्ण सरस्वती देवी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मम ज्ञानातिमृन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाय शलाकया चक्षुरन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 12, Text 13, Vritasura's glorious death. Ayu Shri Kirtir Aishwaryam Ashisha Purushasya Ya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Yathanchor Uparyaya Ayushri Kirtir Aishwaryam Ashisha Purusasya Ya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Yathanchor Viparyaya. Please repeat. Ayushri Kirti Vaishwaryam Ashisha Purushashaya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Tanichu Vipuryaya Ayushri Kirti Aishwaryam Ashisha Purushashaya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Tanichu Vipuryaya Ayushri Kirti Aishwaryam Ashisha Purushashaya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Yatanichu Viparyaya Ayushri Kirti Aishwaryam Ashisha Purushasya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Yatanichu Viparyaya. Anybody else? Any of the Matajis? Ayushri Kirti Aishwaryam Ashisha Purusasya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Yatanichu Viparyaya Ayushri Kirti Aishwaryam Ashisha Purushasya Bhavanti Eva Hi Tatkale Yatanichu Viparyaya. Ayu, longevity. Shri, opulence. Kirti, fame. Aishwaryam, power. Ashisha, benedictions. Purushasya, of the living entity. Ya, which. Bhavanti, arise. Eva, indeed. He, certainly. Tatkale, at that proper time. Yatha, just as. Anicca, of one not desiring. Viparyaya, reverse conditions. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Just as a person not inclined to die must nonetheless give up his longevity, opulence, fame, and everything else at the time of death, so at the appointed time of victory, one can gain all these when the Supreme Lord awards them by His mercy. Please repeat. Just as a person not inclined to die must nonetheless give up his longevity, opulence, fame, and everything else at the time of death. So at the appointed time of victory, one can gain all these when the Supreme Lord awards them by His mercy. Purport. It is not good to be falsely puffed up, saying that by one's own effort one has become opulent, learned, beautiful, and so on. All such good fortune is achieved through the mercy of the Lord. From another point of view, no one wants to die, and no one wants to be poor or ugly. Therefore, why does the living entity, against his will, receive such unwanted troubles? It is due to the mercy or chastisement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that one gains or loses everything material. No one is independent. Everyone is dependent on the mercy or chastisement of the Supreme Lord. There is a common saying in Bengal that the Lord has 10 hands. This means that He has control everywhere, in the 8 directions, and up and down. If He wants to take everything away from us with His 10 hands, we cannot protect anything with our 2 hands. Similarly, if He wants to bestow benedictions upon us with His 10 hands, we cannot factually receive all with our 2 hands. In other words, the benedictions exceed our ambitions. The conclusion is that even though we do not wish to be separated from our possessions, sometimes the Lord forcibly takes them from us. And sometimes He showers such benedictions upon us that we are unable to receive them all. Therefore, either in opulence or in distress, we are not independent. Everything is dependent on the sweet will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatim Tasya Jnananjanaya Shlakya Chakshuranmritamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namne. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharni Nirvisheshe Shannevadi Prashiti Adhistarni. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of. It's okay? It's all right. So Srimad Bhagavatam, these verses, these purports, the translations, the word by word, this literature is considered the ripened fruit of the tree of all knowledge, all real knowledge, which is given in the Vedas. There's different degrees of maturity or ripening in different parts of the Vedas. So, as we know, there's the Vedas are very expansive and include so many categories of literatures. The Vedanta Sutras, the Upanishads, the 4 original Vedas, then the commentaries by the same author, which includes these Puranas, and from the Puranas also there's different sections in the Puranas, and then there's the Bhagavad Purana, and then somewhere there's Mahabharata, there's Ramayana, there's Bhagavad Gita in the Mahabharata. Even Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he says that even the Bible is considered part of the Vedic literatures. So any bona fide literature that has to do with truth. There's all kinds of books that have to do with mental speculation, or books that have to do with how to continue our imprisonment in this material world. All kinds of books. For example, think like this, that if you're in the prison house and they have a library, and you go into the library in the prison house, and that library is full of books telling you how to have a better life in the prison house. And you get so excited, oh, I can be happier in the prison. And then you say, I'm going to devote my whole life to learn how to be happy in this prison. But somewhere in the library, there's some literature is there that says, this is how you can get out of prison. But then you say, no, I'm not interested. That I don't care. I want to stay in this prison. Let me just figure out how to become happy in this prison. So the Vedas are the words, the teachings of the director of the prison house, the owner of the prison house, and he's telling us this is how you can get out. And all the other stuff is literature written by the prisoners themselves, just telling us how we can go from this cell A to cell B, or how we can get a better lunch, or better dinner, or better window, or better mattress, or so unfortunately most people, this is considered Kali Yuga, very unfortunate. Most people, they are enamored by these literatures, how to make a better prison life. And they'll devote their entire energy only to that. So, but this one corner where we can somehow get access to truth. The truth is sometimes hard to hear. Nobody wants to hear that we are here in this prison house and this is punishment for us. We don't like to hear that. Why? Because especially in the US, it's all about freedom. I'm free. Really? What does that mean, freedom? So, but one is thinking that I'm free to pursue the American dream. And unfortunately, most people who come to this country from anywhere in the world, whether China or India or anywhere else, the immigrants who are coming, they're coming here to fulfill their dreams. How to move from this part of the prison house to the other part of the prison house. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam, not only it gives us the way out, but it gives us the way out that is actually very enjoyable. And therefore, it's called the ripened fruit. It's very tasty. It's full of nectar. So it's not a difficult process. It's actually a very enjoyable process. Prabhupada describes sometimes that our process consists of three things: feasting, wonderful refreshments he calls sometimes, dancing, that means enjoying, and singing. So three things we can do: singing, dancing, and feasting. And simply by these three things, one can get liberated from this imprisonment in this material house. So of course, there's so many elaborations are there, but Mahaprabhu has given us this very wonderful way to live the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the conclusion of how to now bring the practices of Srimad Bhagavatam into our lives. So simply by these three things. The whole movement in the West in the 60s was started by only these three things: chanting, dancing, and prasadam. So, and that is what actually fulfills the innermost desires of the jiva. Many times, most of us, we have been for pilgrimage to holy places in India, and like Tirupati. How many of you have been to Tirupati? Okay. So most of you have been there, all of you have been there almost. And there's so many other places there, Srirangam and Guruvayur and Rameshwaram and, So, but going to these places, it's very nice, very auspicious, and one gets some satisfaction. But do you feel something is missing in these places? Are these three things are missing? You get laddus, of course, and this and that, which is nice. But the way Prabhupada has introduced Krishna Prasadam, that we cannot get anywhere, right? And what about the singing? The Pandits are there, the Brahmins are there, they're chanting their mantras. But the way Mahaprabhu has brought in the Sankirtan movement, this kind of chanting, dancing, is missing everywhere. It's not there. What about dancing? Like these ladies were dancing just now when Kirtan was going on. You see this going on anywhere else? So all this has been given to us to make things very simple. This is Mahaprabhu's special mercy and his compassion for all of us. That Krishna, Prabhupada says that Krishna is demanding in Bhagavad Gita, no, first you surrender unto me. Sarvadharman parityaja. Only then you can get some liberation. Then I'll protect you. But Mahaprabhu says no. You forget about surrender, you simply take these three things. You chant, you dance, take prasadam, and your whole life will change. And how many have you experienced that? Only by these three things, everything begins to change. Experience? Yes? These three things only? So, here in this verse in purport, we're being given some very fundamental understandings that we are not in control of what is going on in this material world. We are not inclined to die, it is explained in this verse in purport, but then death is forced upon us. Now I can tell you for certain that most of our God brothers, God sisters, their material age is in upper 60s, 70s, maybe a few in the 80s. None of us thought that we would become like this. When we were young, we thought we'll remain 20s and 30s, 40s forever, because that is the way material energy works. That illusion is there. So now we are in our 70s and 80s, and my mother was staying with us for last year and a half in Alachua. She's 91. She's 91. If you see her condition, it's painful to see the amount of suffering that is going on. Did she want it? No. Does she realize that she didn't want it? Yes, she realizes. Does she admit that she never thought this would happen to her? Yes, she admits. Because she says, why did this happen to me? How did this happen to me? Why am I suffering so much? So, now many of our God brothers, God sisters, some of them have departed. They have left their bodies. Just a few weeks ago, one very nice devotee, he's part of our group, has the proper understanding, promoting Prabhupada's original books, proper initiation system, proper deity worship. His name was Ravinaksha Prabhu. Just about 2 months ago, the word came out that he had been diagnosed with leukemia. He was in his mid-60s. And the doctor said, you have 3 months to live. So first he took some herbs, this and that, to thinking that he can become, try and do something. But then he realized that the body was not going to last. So then every day devotees are going, reading. He wanted to only hear, that's all. He said, just come and no talks, only hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhajan and Kirtan. He said, nothing else I want to do. Only these three things. So he did that, and then his energy went down slowly. He was sitting and hearing, then he would go to his room and lie down in the bed and chanting and hearing over there. And then he would start to close his eyes, and then his eating reduced, and then the liquids reduced. And then one day he was hearing like this chanting, and he left. Very glorious departure. He was reading, this is Ritusura's glorious death. He knew what the purpose of life was. He knew how to prepare. He knew the end had come. He was completely surprised. He had no idea he had this kind of disease. He was in good health. In fact, I always thought, such a healthy person this Prabhu is. He looked young, energetic, skin was shiny, very strong, healthy, working hard, and then all of a sudden this happened. So this is the point being made here. Then when the Lord wants to impose something upon us, then we cannot stop it. By 10 hands, He wants to give difficulties to us. With our 2 hands, we can do nothing. And this is the purport being given to us. So the ways I try and remember some of these constant conditions in the prison house, because we're all in the prison. Are we all clear on that we're all in the prison? No illusions about whether it's a California prison or a Florida prison or a South India prison or North India. It's all prison house, And we're here, why? Because we made some mistake. We thought we would be better off here. Some little envy was there of Krishna, so we thought we should come here. So Krishna said, okay, you go in the prison house, you want to be there, you think you can enjoy, I'll let you enjoy. And I'll make things in such a way that you want to forget me, as Prabhupada says. If you want to forget God, then Krishna says, oh, I'll give you such nice intelligence, you'll completely forget about me. If you want to think that you can be happy in this material world, yes, I'll give you that foolish intelligence where you think you can be happy over here. But it's not possible. Just like for the person who's destined to die, as we know here, then death is going to come. So one of the 4 things Prabhupada talks about are the main problems in society for each one of us and everyone else. Our children, our parents, our spouses, our friends, our colleagues at work, everybody is suffering from these 4 things. It's BDOD. I have some short abbreviation with him. BDOD is what? Yes. BOD. And then what is triple A? Yes. Yes. Adidhavik, Adibhautik, Adhyatmik. So these 7 things are constantly attacking us. And there's nothing we can do. We can pretend that these things don't exist, but that's just foolish pretending. So as this age factor, every day one gets older, then as we get into our older years, then these things become more visible. Because then those foolish ideas about enjoyment, those foolish ideas, they get gradually smashed. And then you realize that my avenues for enjoyment are getting less and less and less and less. This is what the old age does. And then you realize that there's no avenues left. And if one is not prepared to face death, then it's a big problem. I gave you an example of this Ravinaksha Prabhu. So, and then so many devotees we have seen now, whether they're in Vrindavan or Mayapur or Bangalore, if they're in the association of genuine devotees, then their departure is glorious. And if they don't have this kind of training and purification, then it's a very, very difficult and unfortunate condition. So, the other part of this purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about, is when Krishna wants to give, this is this Bengali saying, when Krishna wants to give, then He can give so much beyond our greatest expectations that we don't know how to receive. We don't know what to do with it. So let's say in your case that tomorrow 1,000 people are standing outside and they want to join the temple. Can you manage? You will have a lot of difficulty, And or if all of a sudden all the best architects, engineers, and financing people and interior designers and 500 pujaris, they show up and say, okay, we're ready to start serving in your new temple. What are you going to do? You know? So, it's up to Krishna. That is the whole point over here. It's up to Krishna. We are completely dependent upon what he decides to do with us and our lives. To surrender to Krishna means not that I want to do this and you bless me so I can do this. No, that's not surrender. Surrender means I want to do what you want me to do, and you make me an instrument for that. So we have to be careful that we know the distinction between what we want and we want Krishna to, which is, even for a religious person, that is a very common way to approach God. This is what I want, and you please bless me. I want this for my children, I want this for my family, I want this for myself, but you bless me so I can get what I want. But the real thing is, and even some pastors and priests I was listening to, they understand. They say, no, it is even the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy will be done. What does that mean? Thy will. What you want, that's what I want to do. And you make me an instrument for that. So, and that is actually, Prabhupada says in one place, to surrender to Krishna means to begin your happy life. Surrender to Krishna means this is the start of happiness. So when thy will, we surrender to thy will, then that, starts our life towards a happy journey. So we have to be, for each one of us, Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, they have different orders. Just like Prabhupada was ordering all the time, you do this, you do that, and completely different. So we focus on the service or the orders that we have received and we're receiving. And that becomes then our duty. The person next to us may have a completely different order. So I have no business trying to compare, that is better, this is worse, so I should be doing that, or they should be doing this. No. The Lord is completely independent, and each person is assigned different duties, and that's what we focus on when we do that. So that is the practical implementation of this thy will be done, or this surrender. So this Prabhupada is saying in the purport over here that therefore either in opulence or in distress. Now that means no matter what our condition is, we are not independent. Everything is dependent on the sweet will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that becomes our guiding principle, that everything is up to the will of Krishna. And my only duty is to please Him. So, this is a wonderful opportunity for those of us, to find a bona fide representative of God is a very rare opportunity. You have heard this example that if you're in the middle of the ocean all by yourself and you're drowning, and there's by some chance you get picked out of the ocean. Not to speak of how difficult it is to find such a single drowning person. So by some chance you get picked out of the ocean and lifted into a boat where your life can be saved. To that kind of a very, very rare opportunity has been given to us after millions and millions of births in this present house, to come in contact with a bona fide representative of God who can take us out of this prison house. This is a very, very rare opportunity. And to come in contact with Srila Prabhupada and accept him in the right way as our guide, as our teacher, as our spiritual master. This is a very rare gift, extremely fortunate condition, and something to be taken with deep gratitude, with a sense of very strong commitment to never take this mercy of Srila Prabhupada lightly, and to be willing to give the rest of our lives to serve Him and satisfy Him. Why? Because that is the best thing for us also. It's selfish too. The best thing for us is to give our lives completely to satisfy and serve Srila Prabhupada. And if we do that, then there's nothing missing. We're just reading today that if Krishna wants to give, nobody can stop Him, and if Krishna wants to take from us, nobody. So then what is the loss? What is the loss in putting ourselves completely in the hands of Krishna, being completely dependent on Him? What is the loss? Sometimes we hear from, like my father and mother used to tell me, back in the 70s, that they didn't say don't give your life to serving Prabhupada. It's not like that. But they would say indirectly, you know how Indian parents are. Our friends, they ask, why now? Why don't you wait till you're in your 70s before you take to this? Why now? You just finish your education, you have this, you that. Why you want to give your life? Just wait 40, 50 years. So, no, that is not the intelligent thing to do. What is Prahlad Maharaj telling to his associates? Because they're saying, no, we want to play now, and then we have this plan and that plan. And no, the best plan at any age is to give your life to the Lord and His service. So, and we have this complete confidence that Krishna is totally in control. The Lord is totally in control. However He wants to deal with us is completely up to Him. If He wants to take anything away from us, He can do without, nobody can stop Him. If He wants to give, nobody can stop Him. But my duty is to give my life to serving Him. This morning, we're hearing a short lecture that Pancharatna Prabhu from Puri temple. Every morning he sends some, you get his messages that he sends out different things. Some of you get that. So he has some, every morning he sends out some messages. This morning was a lecture by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was saying that, that he was describing this prison house, and he was saying that in the material world, even the best of devotees, there is no guarantee they will not suffer. He was giving the example of the Pandavas, giving the example of Kunti, of Draupadi. He said, even if you're Krishna's best devotee, does not mean that suffering will not be there. This material world means, what did we say, B dot and triple A. So it's not that the devotees will escape these things. Devotees, do they escape aging? No. We used to think we will not get old, but here we are. Old age is being forced upon us. We used to think that death is not going to come. Now we're seeing God brothers, God sisters, they're leaving their bodies. And, so we're somewhere in the line. The number is also there for us, each one of us. So the suffering will come, the B dot will come, the triple A's will be there. But in any condition, the right thing for us to do is to never give up the service of the pure devotee and the orders that He has given us. And then everything will be okay. Let Krishna figure everything else out. He already has it all figured out. So there is no reason to be in anxiety about anything. We put forward our best effort for His plans, His desires, and we leave the results up to Him. So you have some very nice plans over here. You want to, build a very nice project. You want to somehow, all of Silicon Valley, you want to, that they should all become Haribol, Anandas, chanting, dancing, feasting, which will be wonderful. So Krishna has a plan how to do that. Because for Him it is nothing. One Silicon Valley to make them all into happy, surrendered Vaishnavas, He can certainly help. So He has some plan, and He will reveal it. He is revealing it. He will reveal it more and more as you surrender to Him. And everything can come out very wonderfully. As we are reading here, that the benedictions given by the Lord, they are beyond our wildest expectations. Similarly, any desires that you have to serve Him and to spread, help Prabhupada set His mission, things can happen. And Prabhupada says about himself also that he never expected his mission to flourish the way it did in those years. In those years the mood was, in 18 days we will take over the world, so, so young enthusiasm, but then things went astray. But the Lord, He has so much good, so much good feelings and love for all of us. Not only that, another one that I try and remember is SMS. What does SMS stand for? B dot you figured out, AAA you figured out. What's SMS? Anybody? Because in the Bhagavad Gita it said if we don't get this SMS right, then we are considered to be in degraded consciousness. So this is very important actually. SMS means super soul, material body and soul. Super soul, material body and soul. SMS. We must be in a consciousness where we can see this all the time in every person that we meet. We don't see their body only. We see super soul, material body and soul all together at the same time. So that's, broadening just the vision of a Brahman is to be able to see those things. So, and then another one is KLG. Kind, loving and grateful. All our dealings, we be kind, we are loving and we are grateful. And then people become convinced that we are their well-wishers, which is what we want to be. We want to be everybody's well-wishers, so they become convinced and then they open their hearts, open their lives, that we can reach out to them and help them. So anyway, those are some points. Any questions, comments? Prabhu, want to say anything? Okay. Yes. It can be. It's just the definition of what that kindness is and how to show love and how to be grateful. The practical implementation of that changes according to each person, you're right. But that the basic fundamental approach can always be based on kindness, loving. Just like a mother or father punishing a child. But it's coming from love. You see, so kindness, loving, gratefulness can be there in all our dealings. It's just how we implement can be different from person to person. And that comes with wisdom and maturity and experience and, better consciousness. Like Prabhupada himself in his dealings, he would deal with different situations, different disciples, different people of the public, reporters, politicians, religious leaders. He would deal with each person in so many different ways. If you read his conversation books or you hear his lectures, you hear him and you see his dealing differently with different people in so many ways. But always that kindness coming from him, that mercy, that loving feeling, that sense of being very generous and grateful to that he was able to help somebody. You always pick that up in every dealing that he has. So, okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.